Hello, hello, hello. This is Christina Red Soul. Thanks for tuning in to this live video. I just want to say a few things. Again, happy second day of Holy Week. And please pray for the people that suffer from the terrorist attack in New York, over in Brooklyn. I don't have the clear story of exactly what happened, but it was on the Charlie Kirk show this morning. And I mean, things have just been happening since I've moved from there like 4 years ago from the COVID and being the worst, and that I was going to live there forever for a prosperous life. But unfortunately, New York, just like Chicago, where I'm from, is just not for me. So I'm just happy to stay here in Lone Star State. If not there, I'll go for either Florida or South Dakota. I love Kirsty Nam. She's one of my favorite governors in this country. She's straight hardcore when standing up for herself. She was actually named one of the top 10 states that stood up to COVID. Most of them were Republican states. Those were the weakest, including New Jersey, New York, and Illinois, were the weakest in standing up to the coronavirus. I also want to appreciate you folks supporting someone like Alan West. It's a hard stride for him as well, being harassed by those kids in Buffalo. We get invited to and get open support from these things. We go through what we go through. So I just wanted to I came across this story about illegal immigration over in Texas as it prepares for illegal immigrants to D.C. Lieutenant Governor has question for Biden administration. Don't you like illegal immigration? Now, this is a way of manipulating people and trying to flabbergast her, just as the thing about George Floyd. He was a longtime criminal, and they questioned Candace Owens that she didn't like black men simply because she she was against the George Floyd situation. All right, him and the Ahmaud Avery guy. She also did live videos with them about them. Excuse me. And nonetheless, she got backlash because she called it the way she called it. Okay. So here's the story. So this happened on Sunday, according to Fox and Friends. Texas Lieutenant Dan Patrick spoke with the host about his state's decision to bus illegal immigrants to Washington, D.C., saying that it's about time for a showdown. Let's see what that means. Quote, you're seeing the first step in a constitutional shutdown between the governor and the legislator in the state of Texas of a federal government, states Patrick himself. He then went on criticizing press secretary, that Jean Pasosky lady. She doesn't know what she's talking about. For claiming Texas move is simply publicly a publicity stunt, and state has no power to enforce sending illegals to D.C. Continues. According to Patrick, he responds, let me tell you what our authority and power is. We have an oath to defend the Constitution of Texas and the United States of America to protect the lives and the welfare of our citizens, as he told Fox and Friends. Now, usually Fox and Friends come on very early in the day. he's not the only one that's talked to these people. It's usually one guy and two guys and a lady where they talk to these people, you know. So he continues. Slams the Biden administration for its willingness to send illegal immigrants to cities all across the U.S. except the nation's capital. Quote, I wish someone would ask Ms. Wasowski on Monday, by the way, why don't you just welcome illegal immigrants to D.C.? If it's good enough that they can go to any city in the country, what's wrong? Well, the thing about illegal, we've had this problem for so many years, and it's not going to stop. Unless, I mean, the Trump was the closest to diminish this problem. Not even the Reagan, and I know there were a lot of Reagan fans out there. He didn't even do it, and I was only a kid when he came out. Okay, but I was still under the Democratic syndrome. Okay. Why don't you just welcome them? Don't you like illegal immigrants? Jen, the lieutenant government asked. So what's the problem? Because they're being shipped all over this country in the middle of the night. I don't know. We need more support. All right. Patrick went on to explain a conversation that he had with a mayor, who called him when he found out Border Patrol would be sending 100 illegal immigrants to this town. The mayor told Patrick that he doesn't support it. It's under the police patrol, yada, 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 yada. And then it states, due to the Biden administration decision to end the Title 42, which would be the problem that would be getting worse. We've had this illegal immigration problem for 20 years. And because, this country is so friendly of allowing these people to come in, this is what we're going to get. And it's going to continue until someone like Trump or DeSantis, that's going to diminish the problem. Texas Republican, our governor, Greg Abbott, announced that his state will begin busing illegal immigrants caught in Texas to the nation's capital. With the Biden administration ending Title 42 explosions in May, well, we also have Ted Cruz that's going to try to eliminate this as well. So let's see what the problem is. In short, I'm going to skip down here. Title 42 allowed Border Patrol to deport millions of illegal immigrants and force them to await their asylum claims outside of the U.S. due to the COVID-19 health emergency, etc., etc. So the thing is that they just allow certain immigrants to come in. Like you really think this country will allow a line of Cuban immigrants to come in, because they tend to vote Republican, because they've already know about the socialist deal, so they're going to vote for freedom. I don't know what the deal was with the Haitian situation, but definitely with I don't know if they tend to vote for socialism or not, but Hispanics, Mexican Mexicans on the south of the border immediately vote for socialism, even though they're running from the same exact thing that they're voting for. So I don't know what else to tell you about that. It's just so ridiculous how this is just continuing on. Black Americans feel that they're victims. Everybody and their mama feel that they're victims. So they're still continuing on to bring these same type of people into our country. This past Republican election, what do you call it? Republican, what do you call it? Republican, not a debate. Republican, flat on. I don't know what to call it. Was the best that we ever had in a long time. You had people from Cuba to Maximo. He did a good job. You had people like Charlie Kirk that kicked off the ceremony, the Republican National Convention. That's what it was. My mind went fart. That was one of the best in a long time, despite of not the crowd being there. I saw the whole thing on my laptop as I'm talking to you folks right now. That was one of the best. And yet somehow they cheated and corrupt as they usually are, and they won the White House. So, with that being said, with all the what all's going on with the Tony Malvern, I don't want to hear any of their complaints because you helped put these people in office. And you know the first thing that Biden did when he won, he had all these stack of executive orders. As I mentioned before, by the stroke of a pen, a lot of people lost their jobs. That's pathetic. So I don't want to hear any complaints until something changes. And this is why I do this and why I started this live, this channel, my podcast, because I love our country this much. You think it's only going to get worse with this Ketanji Brown person? Until he has only a few months. I mean, he already suffers from dementia. God forbid Kamala Harris takes over, or Nancy Pelosi, because she'll be next. God forbid something that happens to Kamala Harris. All she does is laugh when you ask her a question. So I'm glad you all joined me on this live. I really appreciate it. Be allowed to. Yeah, they are. Yeah, thanks, for instance. You're right. They will, because it meets their narrative. They're going to be allowed to vote. They're going to cheat, have a way of sneaking them in, and making them become citizens. What is the citizenship cost right now? Was it like nearly $700? And I worked with Mexican immigrants before, teaching them English, and yet they hate this country because they don't want to study our nation. They can't distinguish the difference between the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, let alone a lot of Americans. And I know, and I know how much this country became ignorant, more ignorant, the young people at least. When Obama first won, Black and white liberals alone really thought this man had so much power. So he can't make a lot of decisions. He got to go through Congress first. You can't declare war without Congress approval. You can't make any other decisions or even a brain fart without Congress approval. Yes, he's the commander in chief over the military. That's why when I did my podcast about the Supreme Court in the Biden administration giving the Supreme Court approval about the military and vaccines over the Navy SEALs, the Supreme Court don't have power over that. They're the judicial branch. The executive branch have power over the military because that's how we have. That's why he's called the commander in chief. So this is how delusional these people have gotten, that this country has become more ignorant because they want to play victim and use certain marginalized groups to say, hey, you must hate this country because this and that and the other. And whenever somebody challenges me about the 400-year bull crap, even though this country is not even 250 years old. So, okay, let's count the number of Black men or mulattoes that were also slave owners within the South Carolina and Louisiana borderline, nearly 4,000. My last name states that I may have slave owners in my bloodline. So it's always one-sided when it comes to these victimization things. And that's why Democrats have never gotten me over the last 16 years. So coming this election, God forbid, and if I'm still alive, in every breath, every long in my breath, praise the Lord this Holy Week. This coming election will be my 20th year voting Republican. And that's why these newbies like Candace Owens and the Hodge twins and Brandon Tatum and Diamond and Silk, I've suffered through it as well. Even though my name, I don't have the name out there. And I may not be as aggressive as them to get their name out there. And I'm glad, I'm glad for them. Don't get me wrong. But I've suffered voter intimidation. Just going to give me a Democratic ballot, and I didn't even ask for it. Because in the state of Illinois, which is where I started, and it was Bush's second term, and I think I've told you all this before. Bush's second term is when I started voting Republican. Believe it or not, I never voted for Obama. Not even as senator, because I knew he was a rat from the start. If I'm an Uncle Tom on the trade, I got the t-shirt. Because I go by what's right. And when my Savior, Jesus Christ, commands, I don't put race first. I put Christ first. And nothing is about race, it's about sin. So you want to blame white people for everything, you want to blame black people for everything, man is evil by nature until he comes to Christ, despite of his race. Oh, I'm on fire tonight. Despite of his race, he's still the same sinful being. That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Renee Pena. Thank you. Yeah. Greed too. debauchery. Let's play victim. Everybody, this person called me a racial slur. Get over it. Even within my same racial group, I've had just as worse experience. The average Black woman, and I may be flagged for this, the average Black woman is murdered every 5.5 hours. Who do you think is doing that? You honestly think a white man is coming all the way over to the hood and killing Black women at random? And then they're making beef over this Nigerian loser that made all type of beef about Black women, and he was murdered by his white girlfriend out of self-defense. She didn't murder him. She didn't murder him out of skin color. I don't know if you all heard about this. She murdered him out of self-defense because he was an abuser. That's human nature. She defended herself. Now they're coming out with all types of GoFundMes, and then they expect people to sympathize with this abuser. No. She defended herself. I'm going for her. She's going to plead insanity. She may get off. But I don't care what her race is. She defended herself from this loser. That's what she did. So, I don't mean to ramble, but I just love our country, and I'm gonna do more of these lives much longer. Yeah, so was I, Princess Elder. I grew up on the crap, that Democratic plantation nonsense. Yeah, Trump was the best president we ever had, I think. And I hope he comes back. I miss his rallies. I got 2 Trump shirts. If you go back to my uploaded videos, I got 2 Trump shirts. One is about the Blacks for Trump, and the second one is about the protecting the fence. Now, what I don't like, I don't think Pence can come back in. I don't think Pence should come back in because he's too much of a politician and a sympathizer. I think Pence should just settle down. He needs to pick a stronger person like DeSantis. And I don't mind going for DeSantis, let alone anybody that'll get these people out of office. He did. He already did. Yeah, he did. He did turn his back on Trump. And I liked Pence. I thought he was sharp and well spoken, and he handled himself well during the Kamala Harris debate, even though she lied through her teeth. But I respected Pence at that point. But again, he's a politician. Trump is a businessman. So he said what he said, But yeah, he was the best we ever had, really. I went over because he was Black. Okay. I understand. Yeah. You went for the marginalized dude, but Obama is actually biracial. I don't count biracials as Black. He came from a white womb. So he can call himself Black if he wants to. But he used that because he knew Black Americans would go along with that. So he used that to get your vote. 96% of Black Americans. Yeah. And I was gonna vote for him to vote for my grandmother. I'm like, nah. But I honestly didn't think he would win. But he did the first time. The second time, we had a rhino Republican, Mitt Romney. So he, he served his 2 terms, and yeah, but I, you know what? And I'll do another live how I became conservative. Um, because again, it's not about race. The Democratic Party, and I encourage you all, and Candace Owens mentioned this in her book Blackout. There's a book called Out of the White House or something by what's his name? Into the White House by a guy who said, you could probably just Google it, Into the White House. I can't remember his name right now, but he quoted Lyndon B. Johnson, and he said, we'll be successful if we can get Black people to vote Democrat for the next 200 years. I'm sure you all heard this before. But of course, he didn't say Black. And it's been 60 years, and Black Americans are still voting for these people. Black on Black crime, yeah. Yeah, I'm more likely to be murdered by a Black man than anyone else. And sadly, I do go by the stereotype because Black men are my biggest predator. That's why I'm not against defund the police. I need that. That's the only protection I can get. And why do you think Black men talk about white supremacy so much? Because they're the biggest ones. They hate white men. They hate Black women. Those are the top people that they hate. Trust me. But they're too cowardly to go after white men because these are men that'll stand up to them. They ain't gonna put up with their crap. So they come after the weaker vessel. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what do you all think? Should I do more of these chats, these lives, or stick to my uploads? Give me a 1 for yes or 2 for no. Should I do more of these lives? A lot of dead air here. Okay. All right. So that's okay. Just I'll do more of the lives. I'll do them this week for Holy Week and see how it works out. I really do appreciate you all joining me and being able to find me because this seems a lot easier to chit chat. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for your input, Raina. Yeah. Okay. So I'll probably just do the lives maybe once a week as I've been doing them on Fridays. Okay. All right, folks, I'm getting tired. If I end up building a platform, like a one of these conservative lives, like Daily Wire or whomever, then I'll definitely go live. But meanwhile, thanks to my audience, I'll definitely do the lives. Okay, thanks, Mick. Okay, so we get a split decision. All right. Yeah. Just as long as you all are listening, I don't care about money. You see, I don't have a GoFundMe, not a GoFundMe, but those Cash App things. I don't care about that. If YouTube is gonna pay me, they'll pay me. I don't need your money. If you all are willing to listen to me, I appreciate you all. I love y'all. Yeah, I can see. Thanks, Princess Elder. Yeah, absolutely. But you can also input what else you all want me to talk about. I mean, whatever you want to hear. Uh yeah, I'm just open for everything. Cuz I enjoy doing this. It just relaxes my mind from the rest of the world, and I want Jesus to come soon to straighten this all out. And I'm grateful that he's given me every last breath to have this opportunity to do this. Uh, don't forget to pray for what the situation in New York. I don't know the whole detail. It happened in Brooklyn. I think it was something about some type of domestic terrorist situation on the subway line or something like that. Um, Pray that no one was hurt. I don't know. Again, I don't know the details. Again, pray for our nation and our brothers and sisters globally suffering under the persecuted church. And I'll talk to you all super soon. God bless y'all.